Today, we're going to be getting into the 5 ways you can make the most money this year in the LFA 33 and 34 Canadian lobster season. So, Trav, take it away and let them know what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, the first big important topic is to not sell blind. That's a big topic as we start the season here and it approaches. Second, we would say when you're able to hold your product, that is a extremely important topic to discuss based on your profitability or agility to hold your lobsters. Number 3 is grade your own lobsters. We are going to make the fishermen understand how you can grade your own lobsters to make the most money with your lobsters. Number 4 is allocated investment. So after the season, you can make more money by investing in your business every year. Topic number 5 is going to be follow our Lobsterboys Facebook group. This is a shore price group that everybody can see our pricing on a daily basis.
All right, guys, let's get straight into it. We're going to go over number 1. Selling blind. It's something we've been talking about for a few years now. It's extremely important that everybody understands the impact of it. So selling blind is when you come in first day, second day, third day, and you get the typical song and dance from a dealer, your buyer, whatever you want to call it, and they don't know the price. You give them your product, you don't have a price. That's selling blind. This is a really bad practice in this business because the dealer's objectives, as many of you know, but many of you don't know, is to drop the shore price as low as possible. And they do that by taking your product day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, sometimes up to 7 days, sometimes even longer, I've heard, and taking all the bad quality stuff out of it, dumping it into the market for as cheap as they possibly can, and putting all the good stuff into storage. And that's what's forcing the market selling price for people like us. And then we can't go back to the fishermen and pay them the highest price possible. So you guys all know large volumes of your catches are first week, second week. And when you get your shore price drop 50 cents, $1, we've seen even higher sometimes on that first week, it's a critical amount of money that you're losing. So we got to avoid this by having fishermen be conscious about it first, giving pushback to the buyer when they come to the shore and saying, I'm not giving you my crates without a price. You know, let's make an analogy and go and say you go to buy a car at a car lot. You're not going to go and get a car from somebody and they're going to say, hey, take the car and let me know the price in a week. It's not something that happens in any trade. I don't know why it happens in this trade. And it's mostly done because this is just the way that things have been done. And there's all these handheld agreements with, you know, I get you your startup money and stuff like that. And you know, it's just a bad practice that we have to get rid of. Trav, what do you think about selling blind?
But isn't this where Lobster Boys separates itself? Because we sell directly to the end customer or the end users, and we have to give them a price every day. And if you think about it, there's no reason that a dealer, if they're a great dealer, a great buyer, whatever you want to say, that they can't have a price every day. The fact that they're telling fishermen they don't know the price is unbelievable. That's just total manipulation. So why would they ever not tell the fishermen the price?
I mean, for me personally, I think that they do it because like we sell direct to consumer, direct to relationship, you know, chefs and stuff like that. These guys are just selling to another broker and they're bound by that. So if they were to go out and give the fishermen a price day 1 on a current market price and they buy a lot of their product, naturally the market is going to decline while they're holding all this product. So they're just always putting themselves in a position where they don't lose money. So it's just really unfair to the fishermen because it's like day 1, the market price is really high, but we're going to drop the price as low as we can as a group. They communicate amongst the group, as we know, the mafia, and they're just going to bury the price as low as they think they can get it. And they're going to mark that as the bottom. And then it's just a ride up.
But why aren't the fishermen seeing this? Because if they can just do what we're telling them to do, then they can make their own decisions with their own lobsters based on their cash flows. Because, you know, if you're the market price right now, in just say out of Digby, we've been buying lobsters and it was roughly a $12 all-in shore price. You know, that's where the market's set right now. They're either taking on too many boats to try to get too much product to store, and they can't handle all the market price, or they're just middlemen that need to get out of the way because they're not selling into the market. They're just crate flippers to the Chinese or to a guy in the U.S. They're just a broker, and we need to get them out of the way between us and the fishermen.
I think the latter is the big one there. They just want to consume as much as they can, broker as much as they can, and you know, make their nickels and dimes on big volumes. And there's tons of guys in the business like this that we've tried to cut out. And you know, I think that going back to when you were saying how come the fishermen don't hear this, I personally just think it's because these small communities, they don't have a platform that's giving them this information at scale. And that's what we're hoping to do here. So I think we both agree that selling blind overall is an extremely bad practice. It has a huge trickle-down effect to the fishermen as a whole, and we need to avoid it at all costs.
Now let's get into topic number 2 is hold your own product. And let's talk about the benefits that you can have for holding your product as long as you can, maybe just the first few weeks. You know, it really is going to come down to the quality of the lobsters and the stuff you're putting away and the holding facility you have. You know, some fishermen even have, you know, tanks and other holding facility, but most people have cars and they can hold them at the wharf. So the benefits we talk about of holding in a car is you can cash flow your business up to a few weeks, just say, but you don't want to be so greedy sometimes that you hold their product for months, or, you know, you can hold it all the way to March. That's not going to help us distribute the lobsters at the best quality to the supermarkets, or, you know, the end users or the chefs that we deal with. So we have to understand there's a balance of holding your product to make the most money, but also having the best quality, because at the end of the day, the best quality is what Lobster Boys provides as a service to their customers, and so should everybody else, all the other buyers. So this is a very important topic that if you want to hold your own product, that's how you're going to make the most money. It takes a little bit of cash flow to do, and it's going to be beneficial for your crew, your family, everybody. Not everybody has the greatest opportunity to do this because of their cash flow needs, but we're going to get into that later in the podcast to discuss, you know, investing back in your business so you can hold as much lobsters as you can. This is the way that you can make the most money. Now, Just, what do you think about holding?
You know, it's interesting. We live in an environment in Nova Scotia that the dealers have done a really good job in manipulating fishermen over a long period of time, that holding your product is risky. You know, you're going to lose everything. And there's a lot of fishermen that see through it and they don't take the bait, but it is a very lucrative event, and it should be for every fisherman that has the ability to cash flow this opportunity to make more money. It obviously takes some sacrifice up front to get the cash flow to do it. I also think that if you really get down into it, it's not that much to cash flow it. I mean, you got to cash flow your bait, your crew, you know, your fuel, and it has some risk involved with it, but the upside is a much higher percentage of winning than it is losing. And I agree with what you were saying. You know, it's just, you can't get to a position where you're so greedy that you're trying to extend the life of the lobster so long that we're having trouble with it. Because that's when me and you, we've seen this before, right? We'll not buy from that fisherman again when he's holding lobsters because he just did such a poor job with
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's one of those things where you really got to know what you're doing. You got to know the quality of the lobster going in. You got to rotate them off the start of it. And then as you get deeper into the season, you can hold them for longer. You know, we have guys, you know, obviously, you know this, they're holding them in the 1st of December. They're turning them out by the 14th of December. And then as they start rotating those 14th through the 20th, they start holding these things into February, March, you know, even into April sometimes. So it can be a very lucrative event. It should be. And we need to have more fishermen that are willing to hold their product. All right, so let's roll on into number 3, which is grading your lobsters. This is not something that has ever been really pushed up in Canada. Lobster Boys has been the first to really make the fishermen aware of it, get them to start doing it so they can make the most money. And now we're going to really make sure that everybody has the opportunity to do this and roll it into their buyers and make sure that the prices are right on their 2-pounders. So, this isn't something that you got to go out with a scale and start putting them across a scale. This has been done in Maine for decades, and it's been very successful. So they continue to do it. And we need the Canadian fishermen to start doing it in order to make the most money. A lot of these dealers are making tremendous amounts of money off of these 2-pound lobsters and up. So it's time that the fishermen start grading their lobsters. So the way that you're going to do this is not by taking a scale out, throwing them across a scale. No, this is an eyeball. You guys have done this your whole lives, many years, most of you. You eyeball the lobster. Some of them are going to be a little bit under, but majority of them are going to be onto and over. And we're able to pay you a lot more money for your lobsters. So that's really something that every fisherman should be doing. You get your crew to understand the significance of it. You bring them across the banding table. You got separate crates, separate tanks. Some of you guys with you big, massive boaters, you guys got separate tanks for them and whatnot. But really grading your lobsters is a way for you to make a significant amount of more money. Some of our fishermen last year, they told us it was $2, $3 a pound more on average. So this is something that can transition you from not being in a situation to invest in your business to being in a much more powerful situation to make, investments back into your business. So, Trav, did I miss anything?
Well, I would just say that when we talked about, the last subject of holding your lobsters, like this is another thing where when you're grading your lobsters as a fisherman, you got to be conscious of the quality because there's 2-pound lobsters that are soft, they're not ready to go to the live market. So there's a big detail in there that you have to grade the lobsters with integrity that they're hard shell 2+ lobsters because
right.
a lot of, soft lobsters that we grade very strict for our quality. There's a big difference between those prices. And the other thing I would say is when a fisherman is, storing his lobsters, so to say, and a lot of them store 2+s, the guys that have cars and, they want to catch the big price for those lobsters. That's fine. You just got to tell us that you're selling. When you're selling, the run that's left over from a 2+, we just like to be transparent about that because there's a price to that, right? You're taking out all the 2+ lobsters, you're storing them, that's fine. You're going to catch a great increase, but when you're selling those to Lobster Boys or any buyer that you're selling them to, just be very transparent as we are about what you're doing.
Yeah, those are good points. I agree with you. So let's get into number 4, and we're going to talk a little bit about the investments that you should be targeting and making goals for every year for number 4. There's a ton of them that are on the table. Every fisherman needs to decide which ones are most important for them. But Trav, why don't you start talking about those?
Yeah, so let me take this away. And it's like, fishermen make a lot of money, let's just say. We all know that this is a lucrative fishery. The prices have been up. As long as you're responsible with your money and what you're doing as a fisherman, you can make a lot. You can invest a lot of money in your business every year. So what it takes to be a great fisherman, with the fishermen that we've dealt with is they have their own bait freezer, so to say. That's an investment. That's if you want a turnkey operation, it could probably be 10, 15, I don't know, as high as 20,000 if you want the craziest freezer. But I'm saying you can have your own bait freezer. You don't have to rely on a dealer. You don't have to go to someone's shop. You can have it either right at your house, right at the wharf. Having a bait freezer is a great investment for someone that you can take on that said, I can sell my lobsters anywhere. That's part of being a great fisherman and making the most money. Secondly, I would say, the little things like having your own bands or crates or just being independent as a fisherman, those are big things. Obviously, the fishermen that have cars, they don't need to really invest in that. Upkeeping it, maybe it's missing some wood or it can get better with the cages on it. Upgrading your car every year, that's a big topic, but investing in your business is how you're going to be the most profitable fisherman.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the ones that he touched on and I'd like to add to is getting traps that are going to fish the best, because a lot of people don't take this as serious as it should. But if you do a rough calculation, I know everybody has a little bit of different numbers, but you average will catch 50 lobsters to each trap, average 1.5 pound lobster, let's just say. If you do the math on it, if every other day for 30 days of fishing, you miss out on one trap because it's got a hole in the funnel, event's not done upright, the wire's got a hole in it, and your traps aren't fishing, we've done the math on it. It's over $17,000 on the year for 30 days. Every other day, one trap not fishing. So I can't stress enough how important it is for, you guys to make sure that you're fishing traps that really fish, because, it's a big number that you can be losing on a year-round basis.
Now let's get into the last topic here. And this is number 5, check daily pricing. So every captain, fisherman in general, which we grew up as fishermen our whole lives and did the same thing, you have a responsibility to check the pricing. Lobster Boys can't always provide the best pricing. You got to check with others. Maybe Lobster Boys isn't paying the best. You want to verify the pricing on a daily basis with multiple buyers. You can't just come in and say your buyer always has the best pricing. That's not realistic in a moving market, and especially on a daily basis. So we would like the captains to check the pricing on a daily basis. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's as you said, it's really important. It's not just important for the captain and his family. It's also important for the crew. Most of these boats are sharing up off of percentage based on the revenue of the boat. So unfortunately for these crewmen, that the captains are saddling them with a buyer that is paying them an inferior price or a less than price. It hurts the whole crew, their families, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to go back on a point that you made, that we do pay the best price every single day of the year. But no, I'm just joking. We try to pay the best. We think we do a pretty good job. A lot of our fishermen seem to think that we do a really good job with it. So, I think that checking the daily price is something that you have to get into a routine of. You have to have a handful at the minimum. I'd say you got to have 3 to 5 people at minimum. Really, you should have 10 between fishermen and other buyers. And may the best man win every day. It's not like, you have to sell to someone every single day. And that takes some investment and sacrifices to get into that position. But me and those guys make the most money every single year. The ones that can say, hey, I got a guy down here that's paying, 25 cents more. Can you guys do something about it? And if we can't, we can't. But those guys are always in a position to make the most money. And I think that checking prices is a habitual thing that needs to be done from the fishermen. And you guys, we have a Facebook group that it's actually a member group that we started called Canadian Shore Price Transparency. And you guys, there'll be a link down below that you guys can click on and join that group. That we put our prices up every single day, and gives you an opportunity to at least figure out. We had guys last year that were losing tremendous amounts of money selling to another buyer. Unfortunately, some of them are tied up. We encourage you to look at that, get in there and verify that you're a fisherman. Get in the group, follow it, check our prices, check your dealer's prices, call them out. We got to have shore price transparency for everybody to be on an even playing field in this business. And, you guys can also tell us anything in this episode that you thought we have some other important issues that we should be addressing. Give us some comments, give us some feedback on, things that you think are really important for us to take into consideration to address in any further episodes. You also can contact us at 902-201-8844 and like us on Lobster Team on Facebook, Lobster Team on Instagram. And we look forward to hearing from you guys.
Let's have a good season.